I first came across Naruto when I was 6 or 7 years old. I'll be turning 27 soon, which means that I have been watching the show for 20 years. I have taken some breaks and some of them were pretty long, but I think that considering that there are more than 1000 episodes and I'm counting the original Naruto, Naruto Shippuden, but also Boruto, plus all the movies and manga, I must have put in more than 1000 hours. I think that 1000 hours is a lot to put into one series, but I don't regret a single second of it. There are other shows, movies, music which I love going back to, but Naruto is different to me. It's almost as if I grew with or alongside Naruto. This might be because when I first came across Naruto, I said I was 6 or 7 years old. I think I was in first grade. Naruto was in the academy. I was not, or neither of us were particularly popular in school. I think it was just very easy for me to identify with Naruto. And I think this has been the case for many people like me who really became so invested in Naruto because they identified with him. I think, I don't want to say that Naruto has changed my life or that it has had a significant impact, because I think it's very hard to quantify an impact of a fantasy series on someone's life, but it definitely stands out among all the shows, the movies, the music, or anything else. I think Naruto has really served as a foundation which I could then build on, and that might be the thing that I'm most grateful for the show, is that it gave me foundation in philosophy, but maybe also religion and a lot of other stuff, and most importantly, approach to life. And it communicated very important principles to me in a way that I could maybe not understand it at that point at least, but maybe somehow identify with it, or at least like find it cool. As I said, there was no way for me to understand what the characters were really about when I was, let's say, 10. I didn't really understand or think deeply about characters like Itachi or Madara or Obito, but it did give me the foundation which I am now building on. And I think that's one of the greatest things that Naruto has done for millions and millions of people. And I think what makes Naruto very special is how well it uses the archetypes. So when you look at people like Madara, at least I don't really see Madara now. What I see is the archetype which has been here, which just keeps coming back in different people. So when I look at Madara, I see a dictator. I see someone like Stalin or Mao Zedong, or many others who maybe even, and I don't know if these two did, but I kind of think they did, maybe they started with good intentions in the beginning, but they just got so screwed over time that they ended up being one of the worst people in history. And they did it for some kind of a dream of utopia, but they ended up killing tens of millions of people in the process. That's basically, to me, what happened to Madara. He thought that he could save the world. It's just that his idea of saving the world was by just fulfilling his own dream and only really looking at his own interest and ignoring everyone else. Maybe an interesting thing, or what I do think a lot about now, is the religious part of Naruto. So I'm Christian, I'm Roman Catholic, and I actually at one point, it was one of the reasons why I took one of the big breaks from Naruto, is that at that point I thought that Naruto was like not anti-Christian, but you know what I mean. So I took a break because I thought it was not good for me as a Christian to watch it. It was only later on that I actually pretty recently that I started to think more about the religion of Naruto, and I understood that there is actually so much from Christianity in Naruto. Obviously, there is a lot from other religions too, which is one of the things that I do love about Naruto. And now that it's kind of like it's not only about one culture, even though it's an animated series from Japan, but there is so much which goes across cultures, across times. I mean, it is kind of interesting that it has so many fans who don't know much about Japanese culture or language. I mean, I know like a few words, like 1, 2, 3 words in Japanese. I don't know that. I've never been to Japan. And especially when I was a kid, I mean, I knew nothing. All I knew was from Naruto. But it still has so many fans from all over the world. And I think that's because it goes beyond culture. It is very, very relevant, and it's very easy to identify with Naruto and with other characters, which is mainly because it's archetypical. It is the examples, the principles of the characters and of the story can be found across history and across cultures. For example, even if I look at the connection of like Naruto and or maybe even better, the character is Minato, so like the connection between Minato and Jesus, I think Minato is very Jesus-like or like a God-like figure in terms of the sacrifice that he does. But also, maybe even more interesting is that this in relationship to Naruto, so he basically puts this incredibly heavy cross on his only son, for his son to carry. So I think that's a very big connection. And then also with Naruto. So Naruto, I think one of the most beautiful things about Naruto, which I do think is the reason why ultimately we like Naruto so much, is that he never gives up on people, which is basically, yeah, I mean, that's a very big connection with Jesus, is that he never gives up on people. And I think that's that's what made Naruto that's what made Naruto who he was. And that's I mean, I think had the show been called Sasuke, as much as I like Sasuke, I think is very, very cool character, but I don't think the show would have been so popular if he had been the main character. I think Naruto is really this characteristic of his ninja way, that he never ever gives up on people, and that's how he ultimately changes them or he saves them. I think that's why we like him so much. I think we all maybe have that aspect in us, or at least maybe in the West, we feel like that's what we should do somewhere deep in us, even if we don't succeed in everyday life. But we know that we should be doing that. As I said, that's one of the, for me, it's probably the most beautiful thing of the whole series. There is a scene which I really love. It's when Jiraiya, when he has that conversation with Jiraiya, when Jiraiya tries to convince Naruto to move on and to stop caring about Sasuke. And he tells him something like, "This is what grown-ups do." And Naruto replies with, "If that means if I have to give up on Sasuke to become an adult, I'll rather stay, like a child and stupid forever," which I think is very, very beautiful. And this is basically how he becomes Naruto, and that's why he becomes the greatest Hokage. That's why he overcame Hashirama as well, because Hashirama was the god of shinobi, but I think he failed when he gave up on Madara, when he killed him. And I wonder if Naruto, in that final fight between Naruto and Sasuke, whether Naruto had the power to actually kill Sasuke if he wanted to, I don't know. But what we do know is that he never gave up on him, and that's how he won, and that's how he saved the world. Another thing, which is why I like the series so much, I think a lot of us that were like Naruto when we were kids, or that we identified with him, maybe even just subconsciously, but I think we almost needed to see Naruto succeed. We needed to see him become Hokage, to get married, to save people, just so we would have someone as like a great example for our lives. So I think it's, at least for me, it's even though it's a fantasy series, still I think that example, especially if you watch a show for so long, for 20 years, I think that aspect has played a great importance, at least for me. And maybe actually my most favorite scene of Naruto is from Boruto, and that's when Naruto goes into the Baryon mode. And there is a moment, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, when he goes into the Baryon mode. If you just imagine Naruto as a kid alone on the swing, and then how far he has made it when he goes into the Baryon mode, where he basically where he sacrifices himself. He thought that he was going to die. Of course, he didn't. It was Kurama who died in the end, but Naruto thought it was going to be him. And he said he was ready ever since he decided to become Hokage, which was when he was a kid. And when he enters the Baryon mode, there is a scene. It shows Boruto's how Boruto looks at him, and it's just like total admiration. That's when he win over Boruto as well, because he didn't have a great relationship with Boruto when Boruto was little, but I think there is a moment when he wins over Boruto as well, which I think is like a perfect way. He thought he was going to die, so basically Boruto was like the final person that he won over to his side, which I think is just incredible, because obviously that's his son. And I think that scene is just so magnificent when he goes to Boruto. So honestly, I mean, one of the things that I'm looking forward the most if I ever have kids, and I hope I will, is watching Naruto with them. I'm just really excited to show them the story, to explain the characters, because I think there is so much depth and there is so much people can learn from Naruto. Maybe even if they don't understand it at the time when they watch it, as I didn't when I was a kid, and I still don't for a big part of it. But I think it sort of like comes back at some point on the of people's life when they remember, oh, there was this scene in Naruto, and maybe this is what the authors meant. I think a great example of this is the moment when Naruto is fighting himself. I think it's called, what was it, the Waterfall of the Truth, when Naruto faces his shadow. Basically, I think that scene is incredible when it comes to psychology. Yeah, I think Carl Jung would be very happy with that scene, and there's just so much. I mean, that's what everyone goes through at some point of their life. So maybe the greatness of Naruto is that most people will not sort of like tie themselves to one character, but they're like a combination of characters, because the characters are obviously really like, their characteristics are just like maxed out. Obviously there are maybe in some cases, like you could say, like David Goggins is like Might Guy or Rock Lee type character, but I think for most people they'll find themselves as like a combination of different characters. And I think that's amazing, because you can really analyze, you can really find like what's like deep in those characters, and that's why people like them so much. I mean, Itachi, I think, is a perfect example. Such a deep character. I mean, I don't know if I've ever come across any character which would be like deeper than Itachi, and more complex. So it just makes sense that he's one of the most popular characters, even though he should not be, because of what he did. I mean, he killed his family, he killed his clan for the village, but still people just are fascinated with the character. So yeah, as I said, I think there is so much to learn from Naruto. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. No matter how old you are, where you are from, I think you will love the show. Actually, I remember one moment I was at a coffee shop. I know I should not be doing this, but I kind of like sort of like eavesdropping, just listening to what people talk about. Seems like I cannot stop it sometimes. And once I heard like two guys, maybe they're like, I don't know, like 20, and one of the guys was telling another guy about Naruto, and I remember he said something like, I used to watch Naruto with my sister, and like I would like cry sometimes. It's yeah, and just you could really feel the passion, and I think that's what most of us who grew with the series feel like. So I highly recommend it, and yeah, let me know what you like about Naruto. Bye.